It's a lovely Sunday summer evening here in Brooklyn, New York, where I live, and I spent the better part of today rewatching old episodes of the original run of Will and Grace on Hulu. Now, I own the entire series on DVD, but I was too lazy to reach into the cabinet and go get the discs, so I just pressed play on Hulu instead on my Apple TV. Now, I've seen these episodes of Will and Grace so many times at this point in my life that I can actually quote them, and I was actually kind of doing that just now on my couch. But there's a reason why, with all the new material there is to watch, I still continue to sit down and watch the old sitcoms that I've known and loved for many years. And there's a reason why you are replaying the same TV series and movies over and over again in your own homes. It has its roots in psychology, more specifically in anxiety, and I'm here to tell you all about it because I'm Linda. This is Linda's World, and this is the psychology behind repeating media for comfort. All that starts right now. It's interesting looking back with the information that I have today, how I never used to have an explanation when people will call me out for watching the same material over and over again. For example, it's been a good 20 to 25 years since I've started falling asleep every single night to the Golden Girls. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen Lucy stomping those grapes, but I watch it every time it's on. And I can pretty much at this point quote every episode of Murphy Brown, but I just continue to watch it and enjoy myself. But I can never explain myself. When a person would look at me and say, "You're watching this again?" I didn't know what to say. Now I do, and that's why I'd like to share it with you guys. Now, the thing is, it has its roots in anxiety. And let's face it, life gives us plenty to be anxious about. Now, anxiety, of course, is broken down into three different categories. First and foremost, we have the generalized anxiety disorders, okay? The chemical brain mishaps where our synapses just don't fire right, and we are genetically engineered to be anxious, even when there's nothing to be nervous about. Then in this corner, there are the people who just have stuff to worry about. You know, they don't have a disorder. Life is just kind of getting them down. They have bills to pay that they can't afford. They're wondering if their husband is cheating on them. They're worried about their place at work. They're worried if their kid's going to get into college. The SAT is tomorrow and they haven't prepared their vocabulary. You know, there's lots of things from birth to death to be worried about. And then, of course, there's the third category, the people like me who've got both of those, who suffer from generalized anxiety disorder and have a whole list of shit to worry about. So you can imagine that I'll be rewatching episodes of Cheers and the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Why? Because they're funny, but they're also incredibly familiar. And familiarity breeds contempt is probably the worst quote I've ever heard, because you know what familiarity breeds? It breeds stability. And a person who has anxiety, chemical, life, or anything in between, that person craves stability more than you know. That person faces uncertainty when they walk out into the street. That person faces uncertainty when they put on CNN. No matter which party you subscribe to, you could worry about your country, okay? And they have worries when they enter a family dinner, and they have worries when they enter the office in the morning. And life inundates us with worry. I'm sorry to break it to you. If you're an anxious person watching my channel, there's a fuck ton to be worried about. But here's the thing. We have Will and Grace. We have Murphy Brown. We have Julia and Suzanne Sugarbaker of Designing Women. We have Ricky Ricardo. We have Dr. Bob Hartley. We have Lou Grant and Mary Richards and Rhoda Morgenstern and all those wonderful characters that I've come to note in the last 44 years of my life. I mean, sometimes I get so desperate that I actually rewatch old segments of Sesame Street because when I was 3, they made me happy and I didn't have any worries and I thought they were great. So maybe I give them a whirl now. Now, mostly I just look back on these things with fondness, you know what I mean? I'm not looking for entertainment because I'm not 3, I'm 44. But it's worth the look back. And the reason I'm looking back at these things is because I just need to not live in my head for a moment. Now, then of course there's the people who are out there in the world, people we know, and they're giving us recommendations all the time. And they're telling us that we have to watch Orange is the New Black, and we have to watch Supernatural, and we have to watch Mad Men, and we have to watch This Is Us. And I'm trying to think of all the TV series that they keep throwing down our throats that we need to watch. Some of these, of course, I watched and I enjoyed. Now, the thing is, though, that I wonder again why I was able to spend an entire week back in February of 2016 when I had plenty to worry about and watch new material, basically an entire 7-season run of Mad Men. But yet, just recently, with a lot of worry on my back, just as usual, I was incapable of going back and watching the new series One Day at a Time on Netflix with Rita Moreno, who I love. And I started to think, is it the content? Is it just that I'm not too jazzed about the One Day at a Time reboot? Or is it that, like, the show isn't any good? Or, like, what's going on with me? Like, why I should love this? Like, why don't I love this? Why am I not paying attention? Why am I tempted to just click off? And actually, I was more than tempted. I did it. And just rewatched that episode of Frasier that I love from season 11 where Niles undresses in the coffee shop. Because it's something I know. Because I can predict that Niles Crane is going to disrobe at Cafe Nervosa and Roz and Frasier are going to help him, like, get out. And I feel better because it's something that I've seen. It's absolutely stable because I've kind of had that information since the episode aired 20 years ago. And, like, I'm fine, you know. But ask me to put on a movie I haven't seen and I'm going to blow my top. Because I don't understand. I don't know that stuff. Those people are fake to me. They're not, I don't understand. Like, you know, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I can't introduce myself to new characters and look at new scenarios and watch a whole new land with stuff and people that unfold because my brain can't intake new information. And I really just want to watch Frasier do his radio show and watch Ricky Ricardo sing at the Tropicana because I remember days when I wasn't so worried and I watched Frasier do his radio show and I watched Ricky sing Babalu at the Tropicana and that was fine. So I will go back and revisit the new material. So enough bantering on about my knowledge of characters here. What does this mean for you guys? Well, first and foremost, it means that you need to not feel the need to apologize. I mean, I don't believe that we should be apologizing for anything we do for self-care, but I think that we need to not feel bad about it. Bad enough not to apologize to others or apologize to ourselves. If, you know, the world is a sticky, messed up place, and if at the end of a sticky, messed up day in the sticky, messed up world, you get your jollies by watching Joey Tribbiani say, "How you doing?" So be it. Okay? Because who are you hurting? Because if that's what it takes to reset your brain to normal, if that's what it takes for you to live to face another day, then so what, man? It's all good. That's what I continue to do, and I make no apologies anymore. Old Linda would sit and kind of feel guilty and kind of press stop and, like, get my screen to not have the material on it so that people didn't know I was watching that episode again. And I kind of quit doing that because I know that I'm not harming anybody, least of all me. And I am doing that to reset my brain to zero so that tomorrow when I wake up and face the cold, cruel world, I can. That I'm not met with undue anxiety because I've allowed my brain to comfort itself. You know, there's lots of different things we do for comfort. I mean, a lot of people walk around, you know, with a whole bunch of tea all the time, and a whole bunch of people decide that putting on weighted blankets is the way to go, or they continually use, like, hand toys and stress balls or whatever it is that brings a person comfort. Some people use pharmaceuticals to comfort themselves down. Some people use illegal drugs to calm themselves down. And so, you know, whatever floats your boat to get you to calm down is one thing, but I think that it's an absolutely victimless crime to absorb the same media. Because when you do that, you are telling your brain that these familiar characters, they're fake, I understand that, but they're your friends. You know, they're your friends for now. They're going to present you with stuff you've heard before. They are not threatening you in any way. They're not forcing you to think. They're not forcing you to make any decisions. They're not reminding you of the trials and tribulations that you're going to have to face when you turn off that TV and go outside. You know? I've taken during my lunch hour at work to going to this one particular pizzeria. If you've seen any of my vlogs, you remember that I've done this. And I pick a video on YouTube or something like that to watch, and it's usually not something I've never seen. I don't watch new content during the lunch hour. I watch old content. I just watch YouTube videos I've seen before. Sometimes it's rooted in the sitcom, but sometimes it's creators whose channels I subscribe to, and I watch that. And I find that half an hour or so when I eat my chicken buffalo ranch pizza slice and just like watch Gabby DiMartino like look through her closet for the umpteenth time, that the chemical reset that I experience is so great that when I enter that building to go for another round until I'm done with my teaching day, I almost can, and I kind of have a new like lease on life for like an hour, like I find like I've rid my brain of new material in my day, and I didn't bombard it with new material on my screen. And I guess that's what I've taken a year and a day to say to you guys. So if it's all the same to you, I'm going to go back and rewatch the same episodes of Will and Grace tonight, or maybe I'll turn it on its ear and watch the Bob Newhart show. I don't know. Because it makes me happy. It makes me unwind. It keeps my brain from being inundated with new information over which I have no power. And it keeps me alive for another day to do all the things I need to do and all the things I want to do, like making new content for you. So, if you'll excuse me, I'm going back to Hulu, and I'm going to be as without anxiety as I possibly can, at least for tonight. We'll see what happens when I wake up tomorrow, and if things get tough again, I think I'm gonna watch Frasier.